Hello, everybody. This is Paul Neeson with the Real Life Health Show, and I've been getting a lot of questions, and I answer questions live over the internet and on my Real Life Health Show member website. But I've been getting a lot of questions of people saying, how can they overcome certain addictions? One of those addictions being their current diet. How can they stop eating certain foods that they've been addicted to for so many years? One of those addictions is caffeine. People ask me all the time how they can get off caffeine or how they can get off something. And, on one level, it does come down to what we're actually eating. But on another level, it comes down to a mental move or something. It's about overcoming addictions, So people's problems aren't really about changing a food. It's about overcoming addiction. And what I always tell people is the first thing you need to do is you need to get rid of a bad habit and create a good habit. And the way to do that is to get rid of it is consistency. Consistency is the key. You need to be consistent at doing something that you want to do for a long time. And you need to be inconsistent at doing the things you want to break. And that's how you're going to help change yourself from eating a better diet to a worse diet. One of the best ways to begin in changing your diet and your lifestyle is getting a good understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. If somebody tells you to eat a better diet or eat a better way and you just decide to do it because it sounded good or sounded nice, well, chances are if it doesn't meet your expectations right away, you're going to fail and you're going to go back. But when you get a good understanding of the results you can get by improving this current situation you're in with a better diet and a better lifestyle, that is what's going to encourage you during those times when you feel like you missed a taste of something or you want to go back to doing something you used to do. I want to make this video to encourage you, to let you know that the raw vegan diet or the raw food diet in general puts you at a tremendously higher level in every area of life, from your physical health to the amount of your sleep you get, from your mental capability all the way to your spiritual awareness opening up on every level. I've given a chart over and over again of the body, how it detoxifies and cleanses. You have people eating the standard American diet. Then you have people switching and eliminating things like fried food and microwave food. Then you have people just eating baked food or steamed food. Then you have people starting to give up cooked food and get into a raw food diet. Then you have people get into a more of a mono diet, and then a blended food diet, and then juicing, and then water fasting. And it's this continual transition that goes up in vibrancy in every other part of life. So it's very difficult to explain to somebody that hasn't been there. But if you're looking to lose weight, overcome a disease, and just gain overall health and improve your immune system, there's a direct connection with your diet and your health. But the problem is many people haven't felt that. So let's say you're 200 pounds overweight, and if you're going to eat healthy, you're going to lose the weight. Many people think that this is going to be a tough time in their life because they're not going to be eating those foods they're used to be eating and the foods they love. But this could be a tremendous surprise to you when you start eating and you see how great the foods are with a vegetarian diet or a raw food diet. And I'm guaranteed 100% when you start eating vegetarian dishes, you can go out to vegetarian restaurants, you can make them yourself. You will not miss the taste of all the junk food that's out there and the things everyone else is eating and all that garbage. And but I did write this book here, The Raw Life, and this book is here to help people make that change and slowly but surely break their habits. And as I explain in this book, to break the habits, the things we need to do to break them. The first thing we need to do is we need to make a list of our habits, a list of the common habits that we have that we shouldn't be dealing with. And I have some names here, some of the most common ones, and I call them your opponents in this book. We have cigarette man or cigarettes. So cigarettes or smoking is a common habit that many people today know really isn't healthy for us. So it's a little easier to stop because we have the emotional support of others because people know it's not bad. But then we also have illegal drug man. And then we have legal drug man. So the illegal drugs, well, it's kind of wishy-washy now with the marijuana and everything else. But in general, people knew illegal drugs weren't good, so you got to break that habit. So these are the first two places to start changing your diet: coffee and illegal drugs. Then you start getting into legal drugs. Now, people might say, well, why should we get rid of legal drugs if they're legal? Because they're still drugs to the body and they're still not healthy, and they're not going to put yourself in the best position to motivate yourself to stop breaking habits with your actual diet. It's a very important thing. When you start making a transition to eating a higher diet, and I believe the highest diet we can eat is a raw food vegan diet, if you're still messing with cigarettes and illegal drugs or legal drugs, deal with those first before you start messing with thinking about switching to a higher diet. Now, I know some people have done it the other way around. I know some people that cold turkey or cold, whatever you want to say, cold tofu, they wanted to stop eating immediately these things. And even though they were still struggling with smoking and drinking, they were able to go on a raw vegan diet. And there's a rare case that might be. But for the most part, you want to deal with your habits and get certain habits out of your life first. Then once you get those habits out of your life, you want to start looking more now at the animal products, the eggs, the seafood, and the meat, poultry, and the dairy. You want to start eliminating those things slowly but surely. You can do it one by one. You can do it all. That means going into a vegetarian in certain degrees, or you can slowly but surely eliminate one of each of those. But try to get rid of these animal products in your life. I know a lot of people today, because of the media, they say, well, I don't eat red meat, but then they'll go and eat every other crazy, disgusting carcass out there. So you want to start getting rid of eating animals, and you want to switch. So now when you get on what I call a junk food vegan diet, things are looking much better, much easier. You start feeling better than as if you were when you're eating a standard American junk food diet. And then eventually you want to get rid of the high sugar in your diet, the processed sugars and things like this. And now this isn't necessarily from a health standpoint the ideal order to always do things, but we're talking now from a habit standpoint of having to make it easier for your body to overcome these things. And then finally, even more addicting than sugar, and I would say the one major addiction of cooked food that keeps us into cooked food is bread or grains. And grains are something that are not ideal for the body. I admit they're the absolute best tasting thing you can get. And I know and understand grains were in the Bible. They were a source of life in scriptural times. But the times we live in today, there are so many people looking at gluten and non-gluten and everything else. But I'm telling you, grains are the most addicting, but at the same hand, the most harmful things to your health overall. And they're not harmful per se if somebody's eating millet or quinoa or even brown rice or even some Ezekiel bread. That's not where the harm comes in. The harm comes in with the addictiveness to keeping you eating a cooked food diet. See, if you can continue eating these healthier grains without being addicted to cooked food and just do it once in a while, that's fine. But the problem is the grains are where the real addiction comes in. On one degree or another, as long as you're eating grains, you're going to be addicted to the way grains are cooked or the way grains are made and they are cooked. So if you really want to break through and get to eating a raw food diet, yes, we need to start off with eliminating the cigarettes and the illegal and illegal drugs and everything else. But eventually you have to get rid of the grains. And people say, well, how could we live without bread? If you're saying that, that's just proof that you're addicted to grains and the understanding that grains bring along. And I was on a raw vegan diet for many, many years. And then I went back and tried some grains, some brown rice and some Ezekiel bread. And boy, oh boy, right away, I saw the addiction kick in. I was like, I got to stop doing this. This is crazy. And but it's hard because one thing is, what else is there to eat if you don't have grains in your food? I mean, everything today has some grain or whatever, from pasta to bread and everything in between. But that's when you start eliminating the grains, and that's when you start seeing and understanding and feeling the raw vegan diet and how good it is and how great it can be. So there's some things that help you going to do that. And part of that is the understanding and the knowledge of just how and why a raw food diet is the superior diet for your body. and then continuing to help other addictions like the fear of losing too much weight some people have, or some people have the fear or the problem with overeating or gluttony. And, it's a lot less detrimental if you're overeating on bananas than if you're overeating on bread or meat or something like that. So we want to have a good understanding of this. And in this book, I've interviewed a lot of people that have been eating a raw food diet for a long time. You can get this book at rawlife.com. And this is one of the first raw food books out there that really started to help people understand and get the understanding of how to break these addictions of cooked food. And then I wrote this book called The Raw Food Formula for Health, which really explains power minus obstruction equals vitality, and how to stay in a healthier state with a modern approach to simplicity, variety, and moderation. So it really does help people. So I am here, and that's another thing to support you. Thank you. I am here every week to take live questions from everybody. My website, rawlifehealthshow.com. It's a member site, and for $1, you can see it for 3 days for free. And if you sign up, it's a whopping $5 a month or something. So for the price of 1 cup of coffee, skip Starbucks 1 day a month and join my website, rawlifehealthshow.com. Check it out. I'll put the link below the video. So I just wanted to get here and encourage you, because so many people ask me how they could change their diet, and we need to get rid of these addiction things. So remember, just to recap, create a good habit consistently. So don't dibble dab. If you're going to give up coffee, don't just cut from 10 cups to 1 cup. Give it up. Give it up. And like for a week or 2 weeks. And once you get into a month and you've given it up, you probably feel so great you don't want to go back. And that's after detoxification. Number 2, make a good list and get rid of those things at the beginning, like I said, not just the coffee, the cigarettes or whatever else is just, is bad for your body. Just get rid of it and get a good understanding of this, reading up on it. And then finally, the real breakthrough is grains. If you really want to get rid of your cooked food addiction, you need to get rid of the grains in your diet. And that is a difficult one for people. You're much better off getting a blender, and every time you have a craving for some grain, make a smoothie. Make a smoothie with raw fruits and vegetables, or have a fresh vegetable juice. Much better off. Every time you get addicted to grains, maybe have an alternative that you can eat instead. And there are some really good websites that have alternative foods out there. And again, I want to reiterate and tell people, grains in general, if somebody's eating brown rice once a week or even twice a week, or if somebody's eating Ezekiel bread, this is not the worst thing physically for your body. The body's amazing. You got to think people are eating McDonald's for years and not getting sick until they finally do. They're building it up. So eating these healthier grains are not extremely unhealthy from a physical standpoint. But the problem is from an addiction standpoint, they're completely dangerous foods, and foods that should be avoided. Even if you're just going on a fast, try going on a fast of giving up meat or animal products and grains for 1 whole month. You can do 1 month with just animals and then 1 month with just grains, and you'll see how much harder it is to just give up the grains. And once you get yourself in a solid position, you're eating a good raw food diet for a while, and you want to try to go back to grains. Be very careful because they're very addicting. But I just want people to be more aware of it, and just try to go 1 day without grains, 1 day, and you'll see how addicting it is. So 1 day without coffee is very difficult for people that drink coffee. 1 day without grains, very difficult for just about anyone. 1 day without meat, pretty simple. There's so many alternatives out there. You could have so many other things. So meat isn't that addictive as much as it is. And there's so many substitute meat dishes out there, so that's not as addictive. But you got the coffee and the grains are 2 big ones. And then, of course, the high sugar. Well, you could eat natural sugar fruits instead and things like that. Not as addictive. We keep coming back to the grains and the coffee. Those are two big ones we got to get rid of. As for the coffee, many people are addicted to caffeine. Get more sleep. You'll do a lot better off with not needing caffeine the next day, and and maybe have alternative teas that are naturally decaffeinated instead of coffee, or have a fresh juice. Get a juicer and make a juice, and it'll be much better. But try that. Let me know your results. Post them below the video, your results of giving up grains versus giving up anything else, and just to confirm the addiction that you have, and to push through to a higher diet, a better diet, a raw vegan diet. It does work. It does work. Some people say, well, I need my protein or I need more calories. Listen, folks, I've been eating a raw vegan diet mostly for over 20 years. And I have no problem with putting on muscle by exercising. And I have no problem with my weight by doing what I should be doing the right way, from a form of exercising and sleeping the right way. And you don't need to overeat on anything or do anything like that. So, and make sure if you when you switch over, you do have a good amount of greens in your diet. Vegetables are the ideal. Fruits are wonderful, and I think fruits are great foods. I love fruits, but the studies show that the world's longest civilized people out there ate a primarily vegetable diet as the number one source or first source of food, and second was fruits. Today, so many people are addicted to sugar and high sugar, and I'm not excluded from that group, that we desire high sugar fruits before we would desire vegetables. I have a friend who I interviewed, Stanley Bass, and he gave up eating high sugar foods completely, and that included high sweet fruits. And he said things like zucchini started to taste so sweet to him, and things like that. And then, so I mean, I do a mixture. I do about 50% of each when I'm with my fruit and my vegetables, and then of course, the number one way to overcome any addiction, and you can do it by prayer, and that's a great powerful tool that's there for us. We start using it. So stop eating the cooked food and see how much better you feel. And there are some local raw food groups you can join up on meetup.com or some other places on Facebook. Maybe you'll find them. Go to one of their pot blessings, and then you could taste different dishes and stuff and meals, and see how many amazing raw food you can make without grains or without any cooked food at all. And you could even go to a local, maybe raw food restaurant, and you live in certain cities around the country, and you'd be so surprised how good you can make the food taste. And if you're in the mood for bread or something like that, or a grain, you can get a collards and make a wrap with that, a collards wrap, or you can use many different things for the bread. I have recipes in my books to use things to replace the bread, to help you just break through that addiction. All right. So while everyone's looking at wheat gluten and trying to get gluten-free, they're still addicting themselves to the grains. Avoid the grains. Get rid of the grains. All right, everybody. Have a blessed day today, and until then, everybody, put your comments and questions below the video. Have a great day and a great